सोनम, एक बात बताओ।
एक बात पूछो यार हर्ष।
नहीं, तुम पहले बता ही दो कि लोग कंटेंट क्रिएट कैसे कर रहे हैं यार। मैं तो थक जाता हूँ पूरे दिन घर पे बैठे बैठे।
यार मुझे लगता है नाउ दैट विद द स्टेट ऑफ थिंग्स आई थिंक पीपल आर टर्निंग टू कंटेंट मोर देन एवर. You want to smile, you want to grin, you want to be entertained. It's online content that you turn to, right? कोई ना कोई मीम, कोई ना कोई वीडियो. It's something or the other that entertains you, interests you. तो आई थिंक कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स का काम पहले से बहुत ज्यादा टफ हो गया है.
See, I get the point that their work has increased and it has become more tough. But don't they have their house chores to do?
Yeah, I'm sure they kind of balance it, but being a creator myself, it's not easy on me honestly क्योंकि resources इतने कम हो गए हैं. Like we used to have a whole
Hmm.
team, of a videographer, photographer, a writer, this and that. अभी कुछ नहीं है. अभी आपकी home team ही है आपके पास बस.
But anyway, I think we have two very special people on our panel today. Would you like to introduce
Oh
them?
yes, and these are two people whose content I really consume very regularly, and so does my partner Harsh. And
I'm a big fan! Okay, sorry.
Harsh is just an overexcited kid, guys. And we love their content. We love the way these two people keep us entertained. On one hand, we have a luxury blogger. On the other hand, we have one of the foremost creators from iDiva. She's a live wire. She's a trailblazer. So we have today Prapti Elizabeth and Riaan George.
And the topic for the day is drum rolls. The infinite scrolling paradox. Now, essentially, what the infinite scrolling paradox entails is that while you are surfing on the internet or while you're using social media platforms, you can never really run out of content. Have you noticed that? Because when you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, each platform will fill you up and give you something or the other. Now, these two content creators have to keep filling into the algorithm, filling into content that people feed on. So, we are going to ask them a few questions. Now, first, we're going to ask you some random normal questions about social media and content creation. Then there's going to be a rapid fire. Riaan, the first question is going to come to you. When did you realize the true potential of a social media platform that you very actively use these days?
This is really interesting. So, I come from a traditional journalist background. So, I started writing. I started working for a traditional magazine about 16 years ago. And then, while I was in the magazine, there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't really include into the magazine. So, I started posting. Back then, Instagram was not even born. So, I started posting on Twitter. And then I started getting these retweets and stuff kind of back in the day became like a little Twitter star of Bombay. And that's when I realized that this is something that is really working. But of course, I have to say this was much to the dismay of the traditional fuddy-duddy journalists who perceive this move towards digital as a very shallow and frivolous move for an actual serious magazine journalist to be doing. But that's when I saw it. I kind of figured this out many years ago, over a decade ago.
I think it began with my work at Scoop as a writer. Even then, what I remember is that if people used to like your articles, they would find you anywhere. Like people would go to any lengths to find you. Like if they like something about you and you're anything on the internet, they will, find you. They'll Google you. They'll do a lot. And what happened was that I used to get these DMs on Facebook. Facebook is what was the thing then.
Hey Prapti, that's a revelation. I didn't know you were an ex-poop writer. Pretty interesting. And I'm a big consumer of the content you make. And Riaan, a Twitter star back in the day, it sounds really cool, huh? But guys, now with the change in situation, now with limited resources at home, how are you guys managing? Do you feel pressurized to make content all the time? Tell us your process.
Okay, so I think first of all, I have to just give you a little bit of a background. So when this whole lockdown started, obviously, so I cover content in the whole luxury space. So that's watches and cars and clothes and planes and travel and everything. And all of a sudden, all this went back to zero. When the whole lockdown started in March, towards the end of March, I took a conscious decision that while there were brand collaborations that were coming to do stuff at home, I took conscious effort not to start kind of doing brand plugs and promotions. For the last 1.5 months, my content has completely taken a U-turn. I'm doing a lot of like throwbacks. I'm doing a lot of home tutorials. I'm doing a lot of crazy TikTok stuff, dances and singing and all, which otherwise you would never ever see on my feed. There is definitely a pressure, but I'm trying not to get affected by the pressure.
Prapti, I was just going through your YouTube channel yesterday, and you've done a lot of stuff with iDiva and a lot of other platforms. So how did your content creation life change? So we just want to know, how did it change for you?
It changed a lot for me because when I was going to work, everything was taken care of. Now that was the best part. Like at work, I really have to take care of nothing. The camera is set up, there's a team who will, help you with whatever you want to wear, or there'll be someone to do your makeup. I just have to focus on my script and the performance. I don't have a tripod or anything. Okay, so like back when it started, so it was like I used to stack books up. I used to keep my camera, and then I would like shoot my videos. Or then, my flatmate, again, she was also like really busy. She had her own, stuff. She's an editor. She's a video editor. So she had her own, thing going on. So if she would have the time, most of the time I'd really bug her to, please, could you just shoot this for me, or, something like that. But later we got a tripod and everything. But even after that, I keep getting DMs that during this phase, your videos are like this entertaining thing and all. And when that is there in your head, now I haven't posted for 3 days because it's really tiring. So the pressure is there. For me, I will say the pressure is there. But I'm also not giving in a way that agar nahi ho pa raha hai, so I'm not really forcing myself to really put it out there.
Wow, that is quite interesting. So Sonam and I were talking yesterday how घर का झाड़ू पोछा कटका बर्तन सब कर करा के ना we just sit and we just talk to each other, or we sit on social media. So what do you do in your leisure time?
So the thing is, my sleep pattern has really gone for a toss. Sleeping is not really something that I've been able to do properly. Baki, I also have a flatmate, so we kind of have divided the chores. So she do some part of it, I do some part of it, and right now there is no time ka pressure putting on each other. Ki bas subah ka jo kaam hota hai na, like raat ka most din mein when you enter the kitchen, there should not be any dishes in the sink. There is this thing of having to, start the shoot by 11 because daylight. So, like, that is one pressure that I feel. And that is why I've been missing out on content too. But, yeah, like, it's going fine. Like, I manage. It's very tiring. Consuming to kya yaar? Consuming to raat ko sone se pehle, if I'm watching something, I'll just, like, scroll through, watch. It's hilariously tiresome right now.
Well, that's some amount of work, Prapti. Big up to you, girl. You have a space for a third flatmate? All right. So, guys, there's something that I was thinking about. Prapti, you are this Mallu cool girl on Instagram who makes us laugh with her content, giggle. Very interesting stuff you put out there. And Riaan, on the other hand, is a luxury blogger, travel blogger. You know, that larger than life image, the planes, the watches, the this and the that. I was wondering, how different is your real personality from your online personality? I mean, is this really a character that you've created to put out there on social media, or is this really your persona? I mean, tell us a little more about it.
On my Instagram feed, I look very posh, and it's all like this beautiful, glamorous, glitzy images and everything. On my Instagram stories, what you see is a very goofy, real, homely kind of me. That is the real me. And I will say this, for the record, on the record, and in no uncertain terms, that the kind of persona that I show on Instagram on my grid is purely work related, and it's purely a whole lifestyle that I'm creating, and it does not represent my daily life or my daily I'm not so branded in real life. I don't have such high maintenance face. I don't consume as much as I show, but I mean, since this is my beat and this is my specialty, this is the kind of content I'm posting. But in real life, if you see me, I'm just like not eating any of those avocado smoothie bowls. I'm just eating dal chawal at home. I'm traveling by auto everywhere and not driving the Jaguar.
We finally reached the most exciting part of today's episode. Any guesses? Well, I'll just say it. We've reached the rapid fire! Prapti, first question is, what do you prefer more, a parota or an appam?
Parota.
Coconut oil or groundnut oil?
Coconut oil.
Seafood or chicken?
Both. What? How is that even a choice?
Decide fast. Next question. Back to high school or college life? Wink, wink.
College life.
Meet someone online and fall in love or do an old school romantic date?
Old school. Old school, yeah.
All right, well done, Prapti. Now coming up to Riaan. Riaan, you don't have much time, okay? So no time to think. This is your rapid fire. Be as rapid as you can. All right, shooting the questions out to you. Okay, loafers or derbies?
Loafers, of course.
Beach person or mountain person?
What kind of question is that? Have you seen my Instagram? There are only beach photographs.
Riaan, yaar. Just play along. It took us some time to come with these questions. Yaar. What
I
is
love
this
it.
behavior?
Yeah. I live part of my month in Sri Lanka. I'm a beach person.
But
I'm a
actually,
big
he's
Sri Lanka-
right, you know, Hershey. If you see his feed, you will only see the beach and the sea everywhere. Next up, bow tie or a regular tie?
I love bow ties. I love bow ties. I would say bow tie.
Oh, I love bow ties. Okay, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Gucci or Bulgari?
None. Made in India brands.
क्या बात है आत्मनिर्भर हो रहे हो तुम आजकल रियान
I've always been. Always been.
So Riaan, since you're out there in the game, you told me that you've been blogging, doing luxury for so many years. Do you think buying of followers has become sort of validation for influencers these days? Tell us your thoughts.
Okay, so definitely I would say that buying of followers has become a validation for a lot of the young ones, young followers who want to attain fame overnight.
Prapti, we'd like to ask you on that. Do you think buying followers has become a validation? Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I don't know about validation or not, but I just, Riaan said, that in the long run, it's not really going to be of any benefit at all, because the engagement on your page remains the same, because these are not real followers. These are not people who will be, coming to your stories, checking out what you're doing, or, going and commenting, or they're not real people. Like, it's not what real people do. So, in that sense, having that amount of followers and not having that kind of, viewership or whatever would only impact, like, especially if you're a business, it would only impact you in a negative way, is what I feel.
All right, peeps, that was talking to us, Prapti Elizabeth from my Divine Top Luxury blogger, Riaan George. It was a lot of fun talking to these two top content creators, understanding their perspective, understanding their process, the challenges that they're facing in quarantine, their thoughts about buying followers, and a lot more things, guys. We hope you enjoyed listening to us as much as we enjoyed making this episode. This was the second episode of We Give a Foxx, where we really give a fox about you and your opinion.